but it was like a, okay, just put it in the cart kind of thing. Welcome back to my channel. It is Friday, so it is another week of amazing thrifting. If you're not already subscribed, be sure to hit that button so you can check out all of our thrift finds every Friday. The first stop of the week was at our local Red, White, and Blue. I found this lidded milk glass dish. It was $5.99. And then I spotted this Tanala pitcher with the cup on top. I've never found one with the cup. I thought that was pretty neat. It was $9.99. We hit 4 stores this week, so make sure you watch this video all the way to the end to see all of the great finds. There was this little cherub, but unfortunately his flower was broken. He was still $5.99, so I left him behind. Last time I tried to identify a dog, I called it a Schnauzer, and it was a fox terrier, but tell me guys, this one's a Schnauzer, right? I know you'll let me know. There was this Lenox vase right here. I really liked the shape of that one. And then I spotted this jug up here and it was $9.99, and then the bottom said Hager, and I have never seen a Hager in this shape before, so I had to pick that up. Let me know if you've ever found one that is this shape. Usually I just find vases. There was this little wood cat sleeping on a stack of books. He would be so cute on a library shelf. I just really loved him. And then there was this little ashtray from Hawaii. Unfortunately, it was chipped, so I didn't pick that up. I just love this plate. The colors were beautiful. It was a Yankee Candle plate. I love the pattern and the bright colors. My daughter found this stag head, which I really loved. It was $9.99, and I'm trying to stay away from buying things that are too expensive, especially at this store, because they are cash only. So I left him behind, sadly. There was this Madonna statue. It was Mikasa. I thought maybe it would be Lenox. I thought that was really beautiful. I think it was like $12.99 though. This little trinket shelf was adorable. It had all these little Christmas trinkets. I did put it in the cart because it was only $1.99, and looking back at it, I regret that I put it back on the shelf. I'm sure someone was very excited to find it though, because that was a great price for this. I've been looking for little mini frames to make magnets for my refrigerator. Unfortunately, I didn't really love the style of any of these ones. I'm looking for something a little more vintage looking. This frame was beautiful. If it had been any cheaper or maybe on sale, I would have picked that up. There was not a whole lot going on in the small art this time. Sometimes I do get very lucky. I did, however, spot this mirror back here. I really love the size and the shape of it. It was $4.99. It was like a gold and green finish, kind of looking copper. It was made in China, so I don't think it was very old. I do have like a similar wood carved one that I got at Goodwill for like $6. I just love this style. I put it in the cart for a little bit, but I did end up putting it back. I also found this hand-painted tile with this cute owl on it. It was only $2.99, and it was so well done. I always pick up owl things because it is my kid's school mascot. And look at his little face. I love him. I put him in the cart, but again, I put him back. There were so many of these mirrors here. There was this rectangle one that was $9.99. I don't think it was very old, but this one was a little lightweight. There was also this little square one back here. I think they probably all came from one house. And then this huge one back here, it was $29.99. And had it been cheaper, I probably would have taken it home because it was big and heavy, and it was definitely vintage, very well made. I don't really have a spot for it, so that also helped me make the decision not to bring it home. But it is definitely stunning. If I had a booth, I probably would have picked it up. My daughter found this painted tile. I can't believe someone actually painted this. It was absolutely stunning. She's got a great eye for artwork.
What are the colors?
Red, white, pink, yellow.
Okay, thank you. I always have to ask her to remind me the colors whenever we are shopping. She is so funny. She always remembers them. I spotted this Coach bag. Not really my style. It was $34.99. Down here there was this little jewelry box that I thought was so cute. I love the shape of it and the size of it. I couldn't get this drawer to go in though, so I was a little nervous that it might be broken. It was only $4.99. I probably could have taken the risk. I put in the cart for a little bit, but I did end up putting it back. I always find some really good stuff in this section. Unfortunately, this time there wasn't a whole lot going on. I loved this jewelry box here. It was like a hand-carved wood. I wish they wouldn't put the tape around it though. I'd like to look at what's going on inside. There are these bookends here with the wooden clogs. I find it interesting that they always price the bookends separately. Like, I want to buy both bookends. They were $2.99 a piece. There's also like a huge sleigh collection. Someone donated all of their sleds. My son loves penguins. If you've been here a while, you know that I say that all the time. This guy was really cute. He was a souvenir from New Jersey. There were a ton of candlestick holders. These ones I thought were really beautiful with the gold around the edge and the crystal style. There were a couple of brass ones as well. These ones were nice. They were probably not solid brass, but I love the shape of them. This guy caught my eye. It was a handmade pottery piece. I love handmade pottery, so this one definitely came home with me. It was $3.99. As you can see, there were just tons of candle holders, and I always take time to look at those because you never know what you're gonna find. These were really neat. They were a little bit newer, and they were $3.99 for the small one. There was no price on the large one, so I don't know if they were priced as a set or individually. There was some silver plate, and there was also this like brass and silver looking one. That one was pretty cool. I try to only pick up brass candlesticks, so I did leave these behind. I saw this new in the box glass set. It didn't seem to be anything super special. I just always look at things that are new in the box or in the box. This I thought was a crystal bell, however there was literally nothing inside, like nothing to hook the little dongle on inside. It was $1.99. I didn't see any markings on it. If you know what it is, I must know, so please put it in the comments. This was a really beautiful punch bowl. It had the spoon and the cups. The red and white pattern was stunning on it. I also spotted these red cups. I didn't see any markings on them, but I love the shape of them. They were $1.99. These green glass goblets were kind of cool. They had like a bubble glass effect going on. They were $2.99 for the pair. I found a bunch of these Weisterbach Christmas mugs. These are always very popular around Christmas time. They were only $1.99 each. There had to be like 4 or 5 of them strewn about the store. There wasn't a whole lot else going on in the mugs. I did find this kind of like standard coffee mug, which I personally like these, so I did think about picking it up, but I did find a little chip on the edge, so I ended up putting him back. There was also this set of like horse riding jockeys, and they were vintage, so I thought those were kind of neat. They had like a Ralph Lauren vibe to them. And there were more of these like standard brown coffee mugs. Again, I really love these. And you could see the pottery guy in the front. My daughter thought he was the coolest thing and she wanted to get him as well. But I did pick up these brown ones for 99 cents a piece. This owl was really cute. It was $1.99. And here we are looking again at the pottery because she absolutely wanted to get him. There was all kinds of things going on underneath him. From what I could deduce, it was handmade and it was a gift for someone's boss. Down in the plates, I spotted this really colorful, really beautiful plate for $1.99. It didn't have any markings on it, but imagine that on a plate wall. It would be so stunning. One of these days I will have a plate wall collection. This I thought was gonna be stone. I got faked out. It was like melamine or something, some kind of plastic. These trivets were pretty cute. They kind of gave me a Polish pottery vibe. And then there was this shell dish. It was marked. I want to say it said Stangle, but I really couldn't make it out. But I love, actually, it looks like it was cabbage. I probably should have got that. Checking this yellow bowl, but it wasn't really anything. And I keep picking this green dish up every time I'm here. This was interesting. It looked like terracotta, but it didn't feel like terracotta. I love that it had these little tiny bowls inside. I was really trying to make sense of it, but there was no markings on that. I found this hobnail cream and sugar, or it could be like a syrup pitcher. I just really love the size of this, and they were both in perfect condition. They were $2.99 a piece, I believe. They are Fenton. So I did pick those up. I don't always pick up milk glass unless it's something I think is pretty spectacular, and I loved those. My daughter wanted to show you guys this big wood bowl because she loves when people say she has a good eye. Sometimes I find some good treasures buried down here on the bottom shelf. There wasn't really much going on this day. I did find this little clock. It was a German clock. There was some sort of marking on it, but I really could not make it out as hard as I tried. I try not to pick up clocks just because I've been burned so many times by picking them up and them not working. These bowls were interesting. There's no markings on them, so I had a hard time telling what they were, but they were pottery, it seemed. And one of them did have quite a bit of crazing, so to me I thought maybe they were older, so I did pick those up. There was this huge pottery jug. It's like a wine decanter, a wine jug, and I thought that was absolutely beautiful. It was $9.99, and like I said, I try to avoid things in that price range unless there's something completely special. I felt that was pretty special, and as you can see, the cart was totally filling up. I did put a few things back from here, but it was looking real good. There was a lot more milk glass up on the top shelf. I know a lot of you will tell me I should have picked up this dish. Is it Westmoreland? I did not, however, get that. This candlestick holder was pretty cool. At least that's what I think it was. This little picture was neat. There wasn't any markings on it. I did try looking it up, and there were some similar ones. But I can't remember what they were off the top of my head. Still more milk glass up here. Nothing that I really needed to have, though. This bowl was kind of cool. I love the kind of southwestern vibe of it. The teal inside. The Pyrex bowl down here was cute. It was $2.99, which is a great price for a Cinderella bowl. And then I found the perfect little frames to make my magnets. There was about 3 or 4 in here that fit the vibe I was going for, all except maybe the pink one, but my daughter will love that one. So $2.99 for the bag of those. Definitely put those in the cart. I was looking around in the bags. I spotted a bag of ornaments. I like the nativity ornament that was in there. And then there was this bag of salt and pepper shakers, and there were little Dutch clogs, but they were made of metal, which I thought was interesting. But I did leave those behind. These dishes I went back and checked out. They were kind of cool. They were made in Japan, and I like the high edge around them. But there was only 2, and I have to stop buying plates. I spotted this helmet, which was perfect for my son. He plays hockey. It was $7.99. Not vintage, but I just thought I'd show you. This, I suppose, is probably vintage. It was $4.99, and it still had 21 pictures left on it. Kind of a good deal. Sometimes in the electronics I find some little lamps, but up top there were these 2 crystal lamps that I thought were really beautiful, especially this one. It had more of a unique shape than I'm used to seeing. And I really wanted to love this blanket, but it was super itchy, that like been in a dryer kind of feeling. And here is the cart shot. I did put a few things back from this shop, but it was a great trip. Next up, we spent the day hitting some stores that we don't usually go to. So the first one was this city thrift. I've actually never been here, so I didn't really know what to expect. The kids were a little sketched out. There was so many clothes in here. If ever I'm going clothes shopping, I am coming back here. There was a vintage rack, which I thought was hilarious, that it had Echo and North Face, and this Nike was pretty sweet. I don't think it's vintage. This windbreaker was kind of cool. I thought about how cool that would be for 4th of July, even though it's not jacket weather down here in Florida. There were a ton of kid books, which I don't always see at thrift stores, so the kids were excited to check those out while I looked around and found this green frog guy. He did have a little chip on him. He was only $4.99. I love the color of him, but I did leave him behind. I'm trying not to buy anything that has damage on it. It's just gotta make these little rules so I don't end up with too much. Then I found this frog, and it was super tiny. I've never found one this small. It was $1.99, so I definitely picked that up. This little speckled fish caught my eye. Maybe a candle holder or some kind of incense holder. This was neat. I think it's just like a little cheap decoration. It was $2.99. I wanted it for my cabinet of curiosities though, because it was pretty cute. There was this Fenton daisy and button hat in this beautiful blue color. It was $5.99. But I made sure to check it completely, and there was a little chip on it, so I left it behind. There was this made in Taiwan blue vase. The color was really beautiful. I also spotted this Lenox vase, and I love the cutouts in this. It was $8.99, but you couldn't put flowers in it. It'd probably have to be for maybe dried flowers. I'm not sure. What would you put in that vase? Maybe some pampas grass? There were plenty of fake flowers I probably could have chose from. I love the colors of this little planter. It was $4.99. The shape was also pretty nice. I guess you'd put maybe succulents or bonsai. There were tons of cute baskets, like this offering basket here. And then this handled basket was pretty neat. And then another maybe offering basket. It was kind of like leaf shaped. It was $2.99. That would be really cute hanging on a wall. This was like a huge planter or pot of some sort. It's made in China, but it's definitely an older piece. I thought it was stunning. It was only like $12, I think. This looks like the bottom of maybe an oil lamp or something. I think you could turn it into something. There were these crates here. I don't think they were older crates. I think someone probably stained some of those craft crates that you can find. This was just sitting down there, a little brass seashell. Oh. Okay. Making a mess. Okay, little brass seashell ashtray. It was only $2.99. Obviously you can't see, but it's super heavy because it's solid brass. These were a lot heavier than I expected them to be. I thought they were going to be like Sirocco, but they were substantial. They were $10 a piece, I believe. And both of them were in really great shape. If this was the style of my house, I definitely would have picked these up. Yeah, $10.99 each. I couldn't find the price anywhere. What a weird place to put it. This I thought was stuck to that, but it wasn't. It was this cute little needlepoint with the horse and buggy. It would be so cute in a little farmhouse. As well as this little welcome sign with the geese and hearts. This is so in right now. It was $1.99. It's not my style, so I did leave it there for someone who is going to love finding this. There were these wooden either corbels or maybe shelf holders. I would probably strip the finish on these and they would be beautiful, and these little cows were just sitting here on the shelf looking at me. I found this globe up here. I really love the colors of it. I think it was super cheap too, like maybe $4.99. My son found this, wanted me to capture it. This teacup was really cute. It was $2.99. I love the shape of it. It looked like a little bowl. There were a lot of different mugs here, a lot of like the standard vintage like browns, which I personally love. I think the coffee tastes better in those. There was this cute bright "Sisters Are Forever and I'm So Glad I Have You" or something like that. I don't have a sister, so I did not get it. There was this Cayman Islands mug. I usually don't find so many interesting mugs at the thrifts lately. They're all kind of like mass-produced or Marshalls type mugs, but this one had a lot. This one was $1.99 and white was 30% off. I did debate on getting this. However, there was only one and I probably wouldn't keep it for myself, so I left that. This Acapulco mug was so stunning with the birds, the toucans. Again, a lot of like these brown standard vintage mugs, which I think look really beautiful in a whole collection. There was this Alice mug. If I knew an Alice, I totally would have picked it up for her. There was this cream and sugar. Kind of looks like the yellow Mikasa one that I have, but it seemed like it was hand painted. The initials on it were JCF, which is my dad, my brother, and now my nephew's initials, so I thought that was kind of fun. There was this pitcher here, and there were 3 matching mugs. I looked them up. I believe they're Chatham pottery. I did take home one of the mugs, but I left the pitcher and the other 2 mugs behind. I just couldn't leave all of them behind. I had to at least take home one of them. My daughter found this candy dish that was missing the lid. It was $5.99. She loves finding things that make me excited. And then my son found this Stein, which I don't usually pick up Steins, but this one was cool because it was made in Germany. It was $4.99. There was this little blue and white teapot with a fixed handle. It was $2.99. I love the size of this. I was trying to capture how kind of like small and petite it was. I found the lid to a small Friggy. It was $1.99 and 30% off, so I did pick that up. I find a lot of Friggies with no lids, so I'll save it for later. This crystal or glass cream and sugar was really beautiful and super heavy and thick. I thought that was a stunning set had I needed another cream and sugar. This pitcher caught my eye with the orange flowers on it. It was $4.99 and made in the USA. It was shaped kind of like a Fiesta ware pitcher. This little pot was really cute. I love the shape of it. There was no lid for him though. He was $1.99. Had he had the lid, I probably would have taken him home. These were kind of interesting. I couldn't make out the marking on the bottom. And then this was another little bean pot. Again, missing the lid though, so I didn't take that one home either. I found this Gund Winnie the Pooh. He was just so cute. He has like that vintage vibe to him, and he was also 30% off, so I brought him home. The kids thought I was crazy, but I just had to have him. There was this glass lampshade. I really debated on picking this up. It was only $7.99, and I know someone's gonna yell at me in the comments for not taking it home, but I did end up leaving it behind. This sewing machine was so pretty. I love the colors that are in it. And then I saw this bedspread. It was a queen bedspread, and I tend to always pick these up, but I do have quite a few. This one was $12.99. There were also these crocheted, I'm not sure what they were. Usually they're pot holders. They didn't look like pot holders, maybe handmade doilies or something. I found this single Holt Howard pepper shaker, and we looked everywhere for the salt but could not find it. And there were these little cow canisters without their lids, which were super cute, $3.99 and $2.99. And then I found this pitcher, which matches the set of plates I got a week or 2 ago for my house, so I did take that home. And I just thought this little game set was neat. It had chutes and ladders, Chinese checkers, it had the checkerboard on top, and all the pieces went in the drawer in the bottom. Here are the few things that I did take home from that store. I think that was a nice little tiny haul. And I didn't expect to go to this one. We actually spotted it on the way to our next destination. I think this is a new location for Tampa Thrift. I think they have a couple of other stores as well. This one smelled and looked brand new. And the inventory wasn't amazing, but I have a feeling down the road they will be getting a lot more. So we just took some time and looked around. There were these butterfly pictures. Again, not really a whole lot going on because it does seem like they just opened. There was another brown coffee mug. As you can tell, I am very drawn to brown coffee mugs. I don't know why, I always need to pick them up and take a look at them. I like the shape of this cup right here. It was stoneware. These were neat because they weren't like that plastic that you find. They were more of a heavy brass. They were $6.99 for the pair, which I thought was a fair price. And then this brass lamp was pretty neat. It was like $5.99. But that's about all that I spotted at that store that I might have picked up. Except maybe this little owl guy. He was really cute. Again, I'm always picking up owls. And then we got to our final destination, which was another red, white, and blue. I've only been to this store one other time, and it was just as crazy as it was today. And this was on a Thursday, not a weekend. This place is always packed from what I can tell, but I do always find amazing things here at this location. So first up, I found this Stolen Moments jar, which I thought was really neat. I remember having these in my house growing up, like for all different little things. They were just a gift people would get for each other. This was a handmade pitcher. It was like a glazed pitcher. I really like the glaze on it, kind of funky. The kids were finding things left and right. It was kind of overwhelming. They wanted to show me everything they were finding. This little stone, I'm not really sure what it was. It was $1.99 though. There were these little Cupies. There was this one, kind of like a bisque porcelain for $1.99, and this guy was like playing golf maybe. They were really cute. My kids hate Cupies. And my son found this frog, and I said, put that in the cart immediately. I love finding the sponge frogs. There was this Avon pitcher. I love the blue color. I've only ever found it in the green. I love this little lamb, or it may be a calf. I'm not entirely sure. I guess he's a planter. He was really cute with the flowers on him. And then this shaker with the pig. And he had little bum cheeks, which my kids thought was fantastic. There are these little bow candle holders, which are very trendy right now, bows, so I wanted to look at those. My kids wanted you guys to see this skunk. That was important. I love these carved wood animals. I often pick those up. I've never found a boar though, so I thought that was kind of cool. And then this lion had just the derpiest face. My son wanted to get these for his room. He has a whole collection of vintage animals. There were these super delicate glass trees, I guess that you would hang glass ornaments on. I didn't dare take those home because they were so fragile. On the cart, I spotted this Roseville bowl with the blue sponge blue sponge design on the outside. I took that home for $5.99. There was this statue. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what it is. I do believe it is a statue of Mary. But I'm not exactly sure what the name of that statue is. So if you know, please let me know in the comments. She was $9.99. There was this walnut serving tray, which was in beautiful condition. I'm surprised that was here. This vase is not my style, but I thought this mother of pearl type vibe to it was really stunning. I spotted these palm trees and I knew they were probably something special, and they were made in Italy. And there were 2 of them. They were $5.99 a piece. I did leave them behind though. I have found this in brass before. This was more of a silver plate. It's like a Christmas candle holder. I believe it has the 12 days of Christmas on it, if I'm not mistaken. There is this cute little key hook hidden cabinet type thing. He was really cute. It was $4.99. My daughter found this standing globe. It was $71.99. I believe it was 25% off. Still a little out of my price range. I found this Christmas jar. It was made the year I was born. And there was this carousel cookie jar. Can't think of words today. There was also these Trader Joe's paper bags here for sale for $1.99. I found that to be kind of funny. There was this brass dish with the bow on top. Again, bows are very in trend right now. It was $1.99, which I thought was a steal. I found these Indiana Whitehall Cubist glasses in this beautiful smoke color. There was a set of 3 for $3.99. There were also all of these cool glasses down here. Like the glasses were just on point. These little Flintstone ones. I found a lot of blue and white dishes like this set right here. It was $5.99 for the set of 4. There were also these bowls back here with the sponge stars. There's this old vacuum cleaner, I believe. It was kind of cool. I've heard the old vacuums work a lot better than the ones we have today. I liked this portrait or print in front of the train, and then this skunk and turtle print, but it had some weird spots on it, so I left him behind. There was this Audubon print, as well as this one back here. They were $9.99 a piece. Over in the lamps, there was a few great finds, like these brass and I don't know if it was alabaster or ceramic. I didn't pick them up, but I did pick up this crystal pineapple lamp. A little out of my price range, and this one was absolutely stunning, but definitely out of my price range. It was $69.99, but look at that. There's this brass desk lamp, and I have been wanting one of these, but $14.99. I had to leave it behind because I only had a certain amount of cash on me, and I figured I could come across those again. I came around the corner to spot this rattan box. I have never found a lidded box in this pattern. I have the room divider that matches it. I couldn't find the price tag anywhere. I was kind of in a little bit of panic at this moment, but it was like okay, just put it in the cart kind of thing. Make sure if you like this content, you hit like, you subscribe, and you come back for more every Friday. I will see you next week.